Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Do hope you had a great weekend. There's so very much going on in Nigeria, isn't there? There always is. If it's not one thing, it's another. Okay, this morning, the PDP has been in the news in very recent times, for quite a number of reasons. And we're going to continue our look at that this within the PDP. We've been hearing from all sorts of important party stakeholders, the public, and now it's our turn to check out the perspective of a friend of the House, Otumba Segun Sowunmi. Otumba Sowunmi, good morning, PDP stakeholder and political affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yori, my man, you only invite me when it's PDP story. You won't invite me when you want me to come and do analysis on the economy, on government. And okay, it's all right, I'm here. Let's go, brother.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, on to serious business because, okay, whereas you're not the only one, there are quite a number of jovial PDP fellows. And you are one of them. But it's a very, very serious matter. The fact that you have the men that you do have would seem to, given how I've just introduced you, would seem to point to the fact that the situation the PDP finds itself in is not an irreparable situation. Would you like to comment on that? Because there are those, in fact, I've heard your former governor, Ayo Fayose, say that this is now a journey too far and that he fears that can there be a retrieval of the situation. Give me your perspective too on all the troubles of the PDP now. How bad would you say they are?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Yori. I have started to accept that the democracy of every environment, countries in this case, or even subnational like states, is also a microcosm of the character of the people of that environment. And therefore, the PDP as a political party, in my opinion, well considered, well thought, is a microcosm of the Nigerian nation. If it is democracy, it will include the fact that people have rights. It will include that they can argue. It will include that they can go to court and all of those freedoms that democracy guarantees. And so when you see anything in an environment that a political party like PDP that has been around for so long, sometimes you can step back and say, is this the character of those of us in this country? After all, there must be a reason why our country is not working as well as we need it to work. And if it is democracy and they are using democratic principle, it's clear that a lot of their personal behavior, idiosyncrasy, will also reflect on the party. But if it is not democracy, then it is a lot easier to get them, to keep quiet, to just obey the last command, almost in a garrison, zombie-like arrangement. So within that context, I'm smiling because I truly believe that everything considered, the PDP is coming to that point in its challenge that once it steps out of this, it solves a lot of problems permanently. Why do I say that?
Okay.
If people go to court to ventilate and test arguments, opinions, constitutional provisions, the rules of engagement, if they go to court, if the court does not get tired, and I pray that the Nigerian courts don't get tired because I feel we overburden them now, by the time they are done resolving some of this issue, they are going to produce what will then become the legal position and the interpretation of the laws of that party as it concerns certain tendencies. And I feel that this one is the last battle. And by the grace of God Almighty, and even for the sake of everybody who loves democracy, you don't really want a 26, 27-year-old Nigerian-created, Nigerian-made, homegrown democratic institution. You don't want it to collapse, die, or anything like that. So if you see us pushing hard, one is pushing hard not because of any personal interest or any personal, I want side A or side B to win. No. One is standing firm, one is pushing hard because you just understand that if this democracy is to work, we will have to have multi-parties that are a little bit stable. And of the multi-parties that we have now, the two main ones, the APC, which is the way it's organized, and the PDP, which in my opinion is far more democratic, must take the lead. And any decent Nigerian, forget about the dramatic personnel, name callings and all of that. You must wish that both of them exist. After all, other countries in the world have minimum multi-parties and two are strong. Conservative Labour, Democrat, Republican, Christian Democratic Union, and all of that in other countries. So I feel that that's how I want us to situate. And what our Governor Farosh yesterday was saying, he was not saying that the PDP problem globally or, if you like, nationally was intractable. No. He was asked specifically on the issue of whether rapprochement can still happen within the situation in Rivers, especially between Similaye Fubara, the governor, and Nyesom Wike, the former governor. And it was in the context of the interviewer saying that he was close to maybe Wike and probably trying to lace on him, maybe there was anything he could do. And he was being honest to say a lot of trust has been broken and all that. But I want to say 36 states exist in Nigeria. And 36 states have their executive. 36 states have their government executive and all that. Rivers just happens to be one of those states. We must run away from the risk of saying that Rivers is the basis by which we are going to color everything in PDP. Yes, Rivers is important. Yes, Rivers is peculiar. Yes, Rivers is a big state and it has its own character in that environment, their own history, but they are not the totality of the PDP. We have just done congresses in some of our states. By one or two, most of them have been really considered peaceful. We are now about the point where, yes, we have those issues that we have, but you know us. You will always hear Governors Forum. You will hear things like BOT. You will hear things like caucus. You will hear other organs of politics that can also give us the opportunity to come together and agree on what you call consensus of action. Because I have been screaming my lungs out that we can argue with decision or how that decision was taken on all sides. But if it is a political party, the only thing that can get them away from this problem is a consensus of action. What constitutes an action that everybody can accept? And would that action be justiciable? Because you can't say you write a constitution for yourself and then at the same time come around and say that the courts will not have an opportunity to interpret your laws, or that whatever you wish automatically becomes the law. I'm not part of that.
Which it's interesting you put it like that, and thank you very much for that genealogy. One then begins to worry about, how does one say this delicately? The quality of eldership.
Let it be harsh, I don't care.
The quality of eldership within the party. Because you took it back to, well, you have these kind of situations, they will always be affected by the environment in which they are situated. Is this not how we are generally as Nigerians before becoming APC, PDP, APP, or whatever? That there's a certain attitude that we have. Now, we have the situation where, quite frankly, it remains to be seen how PDP is going to come back from that. PDP has been accused, rightly so, of going against its own laws, its very own laws. Where does this leave the moral fuel upon which it is able to come back and actually persuade not just its members, but also, I imagine, you know, the citizenry out there, that it indeed has a chance at getting back to the stature it used to have when it was, you know, quite cocky and was saying that it was going to be in office for so many years before it actually had to be.
Okay, all right, Yori. Look, the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria has its constitution, the one I'm holding. A lot of people will try to interpret it according to their own private, you know, explanation, and based on that, there'll be crisis here and there.
Okay.
And more than likely, because we are an extremely litigious party, which I hope we can step back from a bit, it will still end up finding itself on the table of a judge. What I do not subscribe to, and I will not agree to in this country, is the tendency to feel that if judgment does not come your way, then the judgment is perverse. But when judgment comes your way, the judgment is good. I am not all the same immuning the judiciary from issues that can concern people, but I am informed enough to know that before a judge, the issues that you plead, the strength of your argument, the jurisprudence things you put on the table, the way you create your persuasive narrative has a lot of weight, and of course the Constitution, and if there be any obiter on the matter in how they decide. I think it is too dangerous for us to allow people to think that, oh, if the court says, Segun, you are wrong, that means that the court has done anything or not to. That's risky, and we need to stop that. In terms of how are we going to come out of this? Okay, yes, what could be, what can happen going forward? The only thing that can happen going forward are probably two scenarios. The first is that, okay, those of them who want the present chairman to go will succeed, and then somebody will be brought in from wherever to come and complete the term, whatever that means. That's one option. The other option is that, okay, those who say they cannot be touched until they get to the end of the tenure of this particular NWC will have their way. Yes. But one thing is certain, there is a convention. There is a convention. My recommendation to the party, I don't have the power to force them, I hope they can listen, is that they need to call an early convention. If you call an early convention, then you have enough time for all of the horse trading. Look for a fit-for-purpose executive. We have learned from the fact that Yoshe Ayu got removed by Benue. I need to state that expressly. And now we are stuck, we are saddled with Damagun. It has now taught us that we can no longer assume that any position can just be for job for the boys. We must always calculate in our mind that the fact that somebody is a secretary, the assistant secretary must be a secretary in waiting. The fact that somebody is a publicity secretary, the assistant publicity secretary must be a publicity secretary in waiting. The fact that somebody is a chairman, the two alternate chairmen must be chairmen in waiting. It is more than a quarter of a century old party. It will have to reform itself. And on that journey of reformation, it cannot stick to the archaic idea that you will have a committee of maybe 17 or a little bit more, and there will be only one woman because you agree that there's one woman leader. What is the big deal about the national secretary that the woman cannot be secretary? Women are MDs of banks and secretaries of companies. What's the big deal about being secretary of a party? What's the big deal about being treasurer of a party that the woman can be treasurer? So what I'm saying in essence, Yori, is that my prayer is that all of these things that people are calling crisis and all that will metamorphose and leapfrog the party to a point where it can now become very stable. Because I still insist, the PDP is the microcosm of the Nigerian people practicing democracy, and the PDP is the university of all other political parties on the learnings of party management, party constitution, and the rules and regulation of organization. I concede that certain characters in different parties have different competencies and different capability, and so it will show. And I also concede that the party in government has two main things it can use to get people to behave. One of them is patronage, the other one is the coercive power of state. I concede all that. But even at that, any political party, APC inclusive, any other one inclusive, who does not think whatever it is that is happening in PDP today is a potential thing that can happen with them tomorrow, and then join in trying to say we need a stable PDP, the person is joking. Because God spare our life, if they continue along the lines that they are continuing, they will eventually become that way too.
Indeed. And, well, yeah, I hear what you said. But one could also throw up the word discipline, for example. You know,
yes.
You know, because I guess the PDP, APC, and all the other parties, they do have their own particular take on party discipline. And this whole matter about the party reigning supreme. These are things that we used to hear from the PDP of old, but nowadays it's like almost like a
I hear you, Yori. I hear you, Yori. On discipline, have you not noticed that there seems to be that a party in government always seems to have the ability to to say it's discipline and it can discipline people. Enlightened self-interest will make people behave well. Patronage will make people behave well. But when you are not in government, are you amazed that our issues go to court? Is it different from what's happening in Labour? Is it different from what is happening in any other party that is running remotely like a democratic institution? You don't have the powers to beat people. You can't, people who want to be recalcitrant, who want to be tough, who want to hold their position, who want to scheme. What are you going to do to them? You are going to have to learn to plan well, to plan in such a way that you are not trying to say one person should lose and one person should win. You have to plan for the big middle. You have to look at the big middle. Okay, how do we accommodate as many as possible? Of course, you will have to also brace up to say there is a line of discipline that you have to say people should not cross. And thankfully, they have a disciplinary committee in place. I expect anybody that has strong issues about people's indiscipline to petition them. Then when we see that there is no desire for them to do the right thing, then we will cross the bridge. But, you know, you have to struggle to save a 27, 28-year institution. If it wins the next election, all well and good. If it wins it again, all well and good. Do you really think that we as Africans, all Nigerians now, do you think it speaks to our human management competencies and capability if we cannot simply manage ourselves in democracy? For the second time, not the first time, I have now begun to think that, yes, I can understand why Babangida will annul elections. Because politicians just are so difficult. People will know what is the right thing they don't want. The boss who tells them this is the right way, they get angry. They want their side to win and the other side to lose. They want to send punches on the other man and they don't want him to punch back. It's just a mess. And that's why I said it's a microcosm of who we are. If there's corruption there, is corruption not our main issue in the country? If we don't run our processes well, if we were running our processes well, will we have 4 refineries that are not working? You know, so these are, you know, but unfortunately, most of them are just politicians. Only a few of us are statesmen who can think beyond the immediate, and there's nothing personal to be gained in trying to encourage them, because obviously, if people leave, they have left. A lot of them have even left. A lot of the ones that have been over-pampered, over-fed, over-advantageous in the party have left. Those of us that have never moved, it's not because of want of opportunity. It's just that we're trying to encourage ourselves that a long journey of party management is a marathon, and that there will be days that things will be tough. And on those tough days, you have to stand firm for the party and push, but not that you come and start saying, Mr. A is right and Mr. B is totally wrong. I don't agree to that.
Okay. I understand that. Let me bring in Otumba Debo, calling in from Abeokuta. Good morning, Otumba.
Hello?
Hello, Otumba, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, Otumba, we can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Go ahead. Good morning. Go ahead.
I can't hear
you.
Hello?
Otumba.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay, good morning, sir. Okay, I hear you. And also our people are hearing.
Hello.
Otumba Debo, are you using your, are you speaking into your phone? Hope you're not using it on speakerphone. Good morning, we can hear you. I can hear you barely. Otumba, can you hear me? Otumba, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I can hear you. My Otumba can hear
Good
you.
morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning. Yeah, incoming PDP national chairman, Otumba Sowunmi.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, thank you for allowing a friend of the house, this Otumba Debo, a friend of your house here. And I know the editorial policy of TVC that belongs to President Tinubu APC.
Have your say. We want to hear from all sides of the question. All sides.
All right. My point
where were you now going into the ownership structure, corporate affairs commission?
To allow for stronger opposition in the country. APC should not target one party state.
We are not talking about Otumba. We're not talking about APC this morning.
To collapse, like it collapsed in the First Republic. That's what Tafawa Balewa tried to do with action groups.
Otumba.
And the democracy collapsed. It's also collapsed during MPN. When the MPN tried to overrun the other parties.
Otumba Debo.
1993 election. Because he didn't want to leave the stage. It collapsed. So if APC is also trying to have a wicket to destabilize PDP, Abure to destabilize Labour Party so that it can have walkover in 2027.
Otumba Debo. Can you hear me?
I am.
You can hear me?
Yes. Clearly.
I wanted to remind you gently that the subject today is the PDP and its crisis within. And we started off with Otumba Segun Sowunmi giving us an overview of the situation. But you just came in now and turned it into a different kind of conversation. I mean, we can have that conversation if that was indeed our topic of our discussion. But nevertheless, you brought some things up for whatever they are worth. I don't know if Otumba Segun wishes to comment. Segun, as you heard, that other Otumba in Abeokuta, Otumba Debo,
yes,
he took the conversation in a totally different direction. Yeah, please go ahead.
I know, but can I just add something to it? Yes.
Please.
The thing about democracy, can I just add something to it? Every citizen, the thing about the bystander who does not even participate or does not even come, every citizen, including the bystander who does not even participate or does not even come out on election day, is a member of a democratic process. So long as that country says they are in democracy. Especially now that everybody has opinions, Twitter is X is saying whatever they want, young people are ventilating and that. So it provides for us as a people the need to be extremely careful. That sentiment that Otumba Debo exhibited is very popular if you listen well in the country, because people sort of like to blame the leader for everything, including the things that they should have done themselves. And, well, what exactly does the president or the APC trying to force PDP to misbehave? Are they not human beings? Are they not adults in their own rights? Do they not understand what it means to run their own parties? Do they not know what it means to stand firm? Do they not know what it means to do what is right by their own party? So, yes, okay, if you want to blame APC, if that makes you happy, blame them. But I would rather we were the one that first of all took care of our own business so that we can then go and face APC the way we ought to face them. But how do you tell people to take it easy with themselves other than to beg them? How do you tell them to, please, gentlemen, let us, for all our collective good, take it easy? I'm not saying I don't hear what you are saying. Why don't you take it easy with yourself? Take it easy is not something that is supposed to implode the situation. Take it easy is supposed to be something that can make people step back a little bit and just find a way to come together. And of course, who's going to be begging them forever when they make up their mind that they want to die? Of course, if their decision is that, okay, they're not going to do, they're going to go to the next election divided and maybe probably unable to bring their own self together, they're going to sit down in their houses and be thinking that the people will just come and dash them results. Of course, I know that that won't happen. I spend a lot of time studying, reading to know that it won't happen like that. And then if you say, because of that, APC is going to win the election and then it's going to be a one-party state, that's not true. There will always still be opposition in parties. There will also be opposition in the citizenship. Even as it is now, because opposition parties are not creating the necessary hope for the people. Do you not get nervous that the people are now thinking about self-help, come out on the street, go and empty the streets? That's how to practice democracy. Would you be in a democracy and be saying that the only way you know how to practice democracy is that you don't want even the ruling party to at least run up to its own end? Shall you not know that elections come every 4 years, and that even if you are in opposition, you have 4 years to prepare yourself for the next election? If you spend all of the 4 years quarreling, fighting over nothing, over crumbs, how would you then be able to solve the problem of the Nigerian people? So, Otumba, I hear you, but that's not our conversation for today, but this is what I have to say about it.
Thank you very much. Let me bring in Joshua in Irewale. Good morning, Joshua.
I can hear you, Yori.
I just put on another caller,
Okay,
Joshua,
I hear you now.
calling in from Irewolide. Good morning, Joshua.
Uncle, good morning.
Good morning,
I can
sir.
hear you.
Okay,
How are
thank
you,
you.
sir?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. Let me just weigh in on this matter.
Yes.
I think your guest has made a point which is germane, that PDP is like a microcosm of Nigerians. It's like the culture of Nigerians. It's like the face of Nigeria. Anything else. I won't add anything to that. But I just want to remind us that the fact that PDP could be a reflection of us Nigerians is the reason why somebody like me wants that party to be completely liquidated. I'm straight to the point. The conversation we are having here, we need citizens, political opposition. We need citizenship leadership that will check our politicians. The political parties, as at now, whether they are APC or PDP, are the same. We just have gladiators who are fighting, grandstanding, and these people have been there for too long. They have eaten too much. So let them pack all their bags. If they are going to go to Abuja or Port Harcourt or wherever they want to go, they have eaten enough. They have caused enough problem for Nigeria. So it's time for them to go home. We need a rebirth of a Nigerian nation where the citizens are holding their politicians accountable as the counterforce. We are not going to get that from PDP. So I wish you people good luck with your crisis in the middle or in the front or at the back. Let your crisis continue until that party crash completely.
All right then. All right then, Mr. Joshua. Thank you very much. I do imagine that, Segun, you would like to respond to that, but you permit me to go on a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back instantly, and then you can go from there. Stay with us, please.